Hi guys, welcome to Metal and Rock Zone. Today I want to talk about Corey Taylor's new solo album. It's called CMF2. And I also want to tell you where I found it. And then I'm going to talk about two other albums that came out last week, like this one, and three a little bit less known albums that I think you should pay attention to. But we will start with Corey Taylor's new solo album, CMF2. So I found this album. I knew it was coming out, but it was one of those that kind of I wasn't really paying attention to. More on that later. On our playlist, Metal Rock Zone weekly releases, which came out on Friday. That's all the new weekly releases from last week, metal and rock. And there was 130 songs, 65 bands, 2 songs per band. You can find that playlist in the first comment to this video below. And yeah, I will talk about this album, give my kind of verdict on it, what I think about it, and then, mention all the bands afterwards. Before we start on this album, our social media, that's at Metal and Rock Zone on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. Different content in here, like some album information and different kind of things that I share there. So feel free to follow us there. And Corey Taylor. Everybody knows Corey Taylor, a legendary frontman of Slipknot, Stone Sour. You know, he's been in the business for a really long time. I don't know, 20, 25 years or something, even more, probably 30. And he's one of those kind of big personalities, we ask him his opinion on kind of anything, and I've sometimes said to my friends, if a cow farts in China, we will ask Corey Taylor, how did that smell? And yeah, he's one of those guys that's everywhere. And he came with a solo album actually in 2020 called CMFT, which I'm not sure what means, but I think it means Corey motherfucking Taylor, but I'm not sure. Full disclosure, I never listened to that album. And the reason is that Corey is everywhere. And I get enough of him in Slipknot, which I really like. One of my most favorite bands live. And Stone Sour, which is also a band that I like. So I kind of never felt that I needed more of Corey Taylor than what I'm getting in those bands, plus all the media coverage that the guy gets. It's fucking amazing. And he's collaborating with everyone, And so, I wasn't excited or paying special attention to this album, but then I was playing that playlist that you find in the comment, and one of the songs came on, and I was like, this is interesting. I need to pay attention to this. And to be very honest, there weren't a lot of albums with kind of known artists that I was super excited about this week. So I decided to dive a little bit more into this album. Now, the album is 13 songs, just over 53 minutes long, and I'm curious if you guys know, I haven't found it, what does the title of this album mean, CMF2? Because if the first one was Corey motherfucking Taylor, then I don't know, Corey motherfucker 2, I don't know. So let me know if you know. And the cover is interesting. It's kind of all the characters that Corey has been at different points in his career, from mainly from Slipknot, but and I think actually after listening to the album, I think that this cover kind of captures a little bit what this album is, because I think on this album Corey brings a lot of different personalities or personas into this. So the first song on the album is called The Box, and that's the song that kind of caught my attention because it has kind of a folkish vibe. It's just a 2-minute song with guitars, instrumental or acoustic, and it's kind of somehow brings you into the album, and I think he says even at the end of it, sit back and enjoy the show or something like that, which is kind of fitting. And then it's kind of segues into a song that is called Post-Traumatic Blues, which is more like a traditional Slipknot Stone Sour song. And I thought, this is good old Corey Taylor. But then the third song, called Talk Sick, is kind of like a Mötley Crüe, Guns N' Roses, hard rock vibe. And it made me think when I heard this song, because why is he making an album like this? Because it's already, after 3 songs, kind of very diverse. And I read somewhere that he said that he was always kind of missing that kind of creative outlet for all the music that he wrote that didn't necessarily fit into the other bands, and it makes sense. And then comes the 4th song. It's called Breath of Fresh Air. It's kind of like a country song, and that was really, really interesting. Actually, one of my favorite songs off the album. I like country music, don't kill me for it, but not all of it, but some of it is really good. And this is definitely a great country song somehow, or country style song, let's say. And then the fifth song is called Beyond, and that's the single of the album. And I think that's kind of more like a classic melodic heavy metal song, and has a really really catchy chorus. And I was thinking how to and that song actually turns out is something that he's had for like 10 or 15 years, and he kind of never got it right, but on this album he did. And I read how he actually does this. So he plays all the instruments himself, so the bass, the drums, the guitars, sings everything, makes a demo, and then brings it to the band, and they kind of add something on top. And that's, this song was the outcome of kind of how the band, I think, helped him make this song something that he was happy with. Then comes a song called We Are the Rest, and that's kind of like a punk rock song. So we're at song number 6, and we have already ticked country, folkies, heavy metal, nu metal, hard rock, like we ticked all the boxes somehow. And yet the biggest surprise of the album is actually song number 11, called Someday I'll Change Your Mind, which could easily be of an album with a band like Journey or something like that. It's a kind of very industrious American rock style, very melodic, very soft, very mellow somehow, and a great song, And so yeah, the album overall, I mean, 13 songs, it's a very mixed bag, and I wasn't excited beforehand, but after listening to it, I feel that I have seen somehow the full exposure of some glimpses of Corey Taylor that I had heard before. There is a song on the last Slipknot album called Adderall. I think it's the first song, and where I felt that he was showing something that was new or different, and this album definitely brings out a lot of that stuff, and so kind of fully exposed. And I was thinking, if someone else came with an album like this, because it goes between this kind of different genres, and there's no flow somehow, because when you think you're about to chill, he kind of pulls you back with some scream or something, or some kick-ass song that could be of a Slipknot album or something, and you're just like, what the fuck just hit me, And I don't know. I mean, like, I would think that anybody else that would make an album like this would be a lunatic, but Corey is kind of the glue that keeps the whole thing together. He is the consistent part in all this. He's an awesome singer. I mean, you can't take that away from him. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a brave album, but at the same time, I think, well, it's Corey Taylor. He kind of do whatever the fuck he wants. So in some way, yeah, if he can't be brave, then who can be brave? For me, the best songs of this album is, as I said, the country song "Breath of Fresh Air." There's a song called "Sorry Me" that I really like, and then "All I Want Is Hate" is kind of a fast, brutal metal song that has a really weird Beatles acidy outro. Check out that song, "All I Want Is Hate." So now to my verdict on the album. The pros of this album is that it shows sides of Corey Taylor that I don't think we've ever seen before. It has a very diverse song mix, and as I said, it's not really kind of follows any path. It's really like this. There's no dull moment somehow. When you're about to sleep, it kind of pulls you out of your sleep and kicks you in your fucking face. Uh, it's an amazing mix, the sound quality on this album, because I started listening to some other albums right after it, and then I realized this is something wrong with my headphones. But no, this is just perfectly mixed. And Corey's vocals are amazing on all styles, whether it's country, punk rock, heavy metal, nu metal, hard rock. All of this, he sings everything perfectly somehow. The cons, uh, there are some of the songs that are kind of taking me a little bit too much back to Stone Sour, Slipknot, but I do get it. I mean, Corey is a metal guy. I didn't expect him to come with a full-on country album or glam metal or whatever, So, of course, there are traces of his roots in there, and they're bound to be. I'm gonna give this album 8.5 out of 10. I will definitely listen some more to this album. I will put it on my rotation, and I think you guys should definitely check it out. CMF2 by Corey Taylor. Now, there are two other albums by, well, more known artists that I also paid some attention to in the weekend. And the first of them is Baroness. It's a US band. It's their sixth album called Stone. And that's very kind of progressive and alternative. And I don't think that I came across a lot of bands that sound like Baroness. So definitely check out Stone by Baroness. If you want to hear something completely different, if you don't want to, stick to the usual stuff. Now, if you're more of a traditionalist and you're just like old school heavy metal, then Ronnie Romero, his first album with his own songs. He's done 2 solo albums with other people's songs, and this is his first one that's called Too Many Lives, Too Many Masters. Ronnie Romero. He's a Chilean heavy metal singer. He's been singing with Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. He sang with Michael Schenker Group, and he is in a band called Elegant Weapons, where Richie Faulkner from Judas Priest is the kind of the main guy. I think it's Richie's band, kind of. And Ronnie has been singing with a lot of different people. If you check his Wikipedia, you can see a long list of collaborations. So this is kind of like an old school, true to the roots, and doesn't really stray off the beaten path, but good solid effort and a great singer, Ronnie Romero. Now, the kind of the lesser known bands. The first one is a band called Tarpon. That's a band from Switzerland, and in the original lineup was the bass player from Celtic Frost, I think. Yeah, Celtic Frost. And but he passed away, and that kind of set the band back. And this is their second album now. It's called I don't know what's Petrol. Yeah, it's called Petrol, and they call themselves anti-supergroup, and it's kind of a, I don't know, like a doom post metal somehow. And it's interesting. The singer there, I think, what's his name? Thomas Ott. He sounds a lot like Mark Lanegan from Screaming Trees, the late Mark Lanegan, and that's not a bad company to be in. Tarpon, they're very kind of doomy, but I like this band. It's good. Another band that I found that I hadn't heard about before from the playlist is a band called Tideless, and that's their second LP called Eye of Water, I think. Yeah. And that's a US band, kind of dreamy, doomy, deathy somehow. They have really long, epic songs, and there is one song called Fields of Dawn that after like 7 minutes kind of goes into some super melodic, way out of character for that whole album and that song. 7 minutes into that song, Fields of Dawn. And yeah, check out that band, Tideless. Eye of Water is the name of the album. And then the last album that I found is a band called Holicide. That's, yeah, it's on the screen so you can find it. It's an EP actually. It's their, I think, second EP. They made 2 full-length albums. It's a Spanish band. And that's kind of thrash metal, but with rougher vocals. I don't know, like almost like death metal vocals, but not like full-on death metal. But that's a really, really cool band. I really like this album, Basu Killer. EP by, what's the name? Holicide is the band. And so that's it, guys, for this week or for last week's new music. And there is some new music gonna come this week. So on Friday, we're gonna have the playlist out again and you can check in with that. But I'm curious if you've been listening to any of the stuff that I talked about or anything else that you really liked that came out last week. Did you check our playlist? And please follow us on social media, like this video, share, comment, and all that stuff. See you guys around. Take care. Bye-bye.